Hey, what's up guys, this is Alex, and today I want to make a short review of two libraries from Performance Samples that I used in my late Hans Zimmer / Bloodborne Dream is Collapsing cover. And they are Performance Samples Oceania and Performance Samples Fluid Shorts. So these two libraries, I use them for the choir and the short strings in the track, which, if you missed, sounds something like this. So that's, those choir and short strings that you heard. Like, this arrangement might not be the best example to show because there's lots of things happening in the brass, etc. But it's the only one where I use these two libraries for now, so I chose it for this review. Now, this is what Oceania looks like, and you might think, wow, this interface is really basic, looks like a Kontakt factory library. So you might expect it to not sound great when you see this, right? But that's one of the things that impressed me the most at the first moment when I tried this library, that they chose to use such a simple interface. And this is a very bold move from Performance Samples, which motto is not for purists, and this tells us a lot about the way this sample developer does things. So these guys have been developing, libraries, private sample libraries for people. And they have years of experience in that. So why won't they use super beautiful graphic user interface? Now, this is what the statement they are doing with this is very bold. It shows that they do not care about trying to impress you with shortcuts and with tricks like having a super amazing graphic user interface. And I'm not saying that all the sample developers who do use amazing graphics are bad. But there are some sample developers out there who spend more resources into how their products appear compared to what they sound like. Oceania with this is pretty much Performance Samples with this graphical user interface is saying, we don't care about impressing you with our looks. We're going to impress you with the quality of our products. And Oceania and Fluid Shorts are products of quality. So that gets a huge bravo from my part for Performance Samples. So so that's one of the first things about this library. And while the graphic user interface is very simple, it has all the functionalities that you would want to have in a normal library. So you have, you can pretty much determine the microphone volumes, etc., with these two knobs, and you can enable the mics, disable the mics, and you can also route them to different mixer tracks in Kontakt, and you have even other settings here. So this library might not have that graphical user interface of other libraries, but it has all the functionalities, and the sound is one of the best choral sounds that I heard in terms of, for epic orchestral music. This library has no problem into sounding huge, despite the length of the notes you play. So, like with Stormchoir, this library doesn't have multiple articulations patches. It has instead, pretty much 4 types of patches. The first one is, which is the main, is this one, which is the patch that you use in the choir pretty much throughout the whole track. And you have the main patch, which sounds something like this. And the women patch, which is like the one we heard more here. Now, the cool thing about these two patches, like the main patch, is that it is a mixture between staccatos and marcatos. So if you trigger short notes, you're gonna get a powerful staccato. But if you trigger a long note, you get sort of a marcato. I'm not sure how they programmed this, but it seems like this library kind of adapts to the way you're playing. So you do not need to tweak the articulations yourself. You do not even need to tweak the syllables. It's gonna cycle the syllables on its own. So it's gonna sound amazing pretty much on its own, both for long notes and short notes. Especially if you have multiple voices going on. It also has a nice vibrato going on into it, and this helps into creating even more dramatic and more powerful choir, as I explained in the tutorial I made about this same track just a few days ago. If you missed that, you might want to check it out. It's on the channel called I don't remember the name. It's called Hans Zimmer Orchestration or something. Yeah, you might want to check it out. But anyway, other than this, I also use a library called Fluid Shorts, which is the library playing all the short ostinatos on cellos and violins and violas, etc. here. Granted, this is layered with Metropolis arc bass and second violins. These things here are almost all Fluid Shorts. And Fluid Shorts is the library of short strings from Performance Samples. Same kind of user interface, but the concept is different. So the one like Oceania is for choir. This one is for short strings only. So you get, like, they are split between bass, cellos, violas, and violins, but it's only short strings, but you have 3 levels. So you have like the normal staccatos that come with a bit of delay, the tight staccatos, which have less delay, and the ultra tight, which are the ones I used here, which have almost no delay with their playing. And the cool thing about this one is that it sounds very, very, like, you can make it sound very dry, very in your face, but also quite far away because you have the mic positions. But I love the natural sound of this one. Sounds very, I don't know, sharp, dry, incisive, and precise. So it was amazing for the lot of ostinatos that I used in this track. And so the coolest aspect for me about these libraries is that they sound amazing out of the box. But the second coolest aspect is the price. Now, Fluid Shorts cost less than Oceania, and yeah, it's like $80 for all the strings piccati. And this is it's a pretty amazing price for a library like this one. And it's quite inexpensive because it's only one articulation, while Oceania is like $270. Now, this price is way less compared to other libraries that may cost $600. And there are choral libraries out there that cost $600. And while they may be they may have a better graphic interface, and they might have multiple articulations and be more deeply programmed than Oceania, I think that this one is a nice investment for those of us who maybe do not have a choral library yet, or for those of us who have choral libraries but they sound laid back and they want something which is way more epic and that can withstand the rest of an epic orchestral orchestration. This library is amazing, and the price for it is not so much exaggerated. It's quite okay in my opinion for what you get, because this library is amazing. But I forget to tell you about the other 2 types of articulations in the Oceania library. Sorry. So I said there is a main patch, and for men and for women, but we also have 2 other patches, which are shouts and rises. Now I'm gonna lower the volume here a bit because they're super loud. So with shouts, you get stuff like this. This type of stuff. And in here as well, you can pretty much decide how to treat the microphones. If you want to make things sound much more close, you're going to increase the close here and decrease the far. And it's instantly way more close. And instead, in the rise, we have stuff like this. So choral clusters, which was super loud. Sorry. Anyway, so you have the freedom to make your choir sound super huge, and it's super easy with Oceania because you needn't tweak anything. You can, it's not velocity responsive, but it is expression and modulation wheel responsive. So if you want to bring more life into it, you can, draw your curves as I did here to increase the volume and intensity like you want. But you can also just open this and play on your keyboard, and it's gonna sound awesome straight away. So this is these are the point of strengths of this library. Very simple to use, quite cheap, and you see like that Performance Sample is a pretty honest sample developer that will never trick you with a graphical user interface that looks amazing and a library that sounds like crap. Now, I'm not saying that all the sample developers who use super amazing graphical user interfaces are bad. There are some sample developers who use those and also have libraries that sound amazing. But, again, the way these guys pretty much promote their stuff and they put themselves out there is admirable. So I'm sure we can expect lots of other great things from Performance Samples. So stay tuned for that. And if you want to check out how this library sounds or how Fluid Shorts sound, you can check out the entire cover of Hans Zimmer's Bloodborne on my channel, or you can go on Performance Samples website. In the library's pages, you can also check out the demos. And another cool thing about Performance Samples is that they have freebies, I think. So you have these two freebies here, which I haven't downloaded yet, but yeah, you have those. So yeah, it's taking a lot to load. Yeah, you have a couple of sample libraries which are completely free for you to download. So go check out their website, performancesamples.com. And if you're interested in the libraries, go get them and tell them I sent you. And yeah, if you're lazy, the link is going to be in the description of this video. But I think I said everything that I needed to say. But if I forgot something or if you have questions, feel free to ask them in comments of this video, or to ask them to Performance Samples on Facebook, because I'm quite sure they're going to be quite responsive. That will be all for today. I'll see you later.